Unitarian Universalist congregation of Fort Myers, inspired by love, we transform ourselves and each other. My name is Lesley Peterson, and it's my privilege to serve as the Vice President for Worship and a Worship Associate for this congregation. This morning, I'm joined by my fellow Worship Associates, Andrea Joy, Jennifer Grant, and Gary Robbins. I'm also pleased to be sharing the chancel with our Director of Music, John Dalton, and our small but mighty choir. I'd also like to give thanks to our amazing tech team who make it possible for us to come together in this hybrid service. There's so much work that they do behind the scenes to make all of this possible, and I'm deeply grateful for all of their hard work and dedication. The theme for our services this month is inclusion, and today we will be exploring how this is manifested through the power of love and compassion in these difficult times. I invite you to come into this space with an open heart. As we join together, I'd like to extend a special welcome to our guests this morning. I'd like to invite you to complete a connection card, which you may have picked up at the greeters table. And if you're joining us online, a virtual connection card will be made available in the chat box. The most important gift you can give us is a chance to get to know you. Members may use the connection card for a change in contact information or a caring concern that you would like our pastoral care associates to address. Here at UUCFM, one of the ways we seek to grow in love is by fostering a climate of purposeful inclusion and safety of all people, regardless of race, age, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, spiritual path, or national origin. All are welcome here. We honor and greet the ancestors and descendants of the Calusa of Southwest Florida, on whose native land we are honored to call home. We honor, recognize, and celebrate you. If you are attending by Zoom, please keep your microphone muted and refrain from placing messages in the chat window unless asked to do so. And now, let us begin our service.
Good morning. Okay, there we go, finally. Sometimes these things are helpful and sometimes they just, not so much. So, I first want to acknowledge that today is, among other things, a pagan celebration called Imbolc. It is the recognition of the fiery triple goddess, Bridget or Breed. She is the goddess of inspiration, helping poets and bards to create. She is a goddess of healing, often seen as the midwife and protector of children. She is also the goddess of the forge, having created the sword of justice in her forge. She is the goddess of justice, and she carries her sword to enforce it. So you can probably see why I would consider her my matron goddess, as I align with the UU principle of justice, serving on the Social Justice Committee. When I came across this poem by Talia Hunter, it reminded me of all the positive ways we can view the world around us. Patience visited me, and it reminded me that good things take time to come to fruition and grow slowly with stability. Peace visited me, and it reminded me that I may remain calm through the storms of life, regardless of the chaos surrounding me. Hope visited me, And it reminded me that better times lay ahead, and it would always be there to guide and uplift me. Humility visited me, and it reminded me that I may achieve it not by shrinking myself and making myself less, but by focusing on serving the world and uplifting those around me. Kindness visited me, and it reminded me to be more gentle, forgiving, and compassionate towards myself and those surrounding me. Confidence visited me, and it reminded me to not conceal or suppress my gifts and talents in order to make others feel more comfortable, but to embrace what makes me me. Focus visited me, and it reminded me that other people's insecurities and judgments about me are not my problem, and I should redirect my attention from others back to me. Freedom visited me, and it reminded me that no one has control over my mindset, thoughts, and well-being but me. And love visited me, and it reminded me that I need not search for it in others, as it lies within me.
A chalice lit in our midst is a symbol of our liberal faith. A faith built on the foundation of freedom, reason, and tolerance. A faith sustained by acts of kindness and justice. A faith that visions a world flourishing with equality for all her people. A faith that demands the living out of goodness. A faith that requires thoughtfulness. A faith of wholeness. This tiny flame is the symbol. It will be there, trust me. This tiny flame is the symbol of the spark of all that is within each of us. Let me see if I can do it. And there is this tiny flame.
And we can let it grow.
Please rise in body and spirit for our stating of our covenants. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And please join us in our opening hymn. It's number 161 in the gray hymnal, and the words are also on the screen. Number 161, Peace, the Perfect World.
To
to introduce Sue Roth to come join us because she is the Vice President of Stewardship, and she's going to probably talk about our campaign that we have right now, our pledge campaign.
Good morning. As she said, my name is Sue Roth, and I am here to tell you about our generosity campaign, which ends the end of this month. Yes, I am going to talk about money, but don't throw me out yet. For those of you who have pledged, thank you very much. And for those of you who still need to pledge, we ask that you do it as soon as possible, because our budget for next year is based on the results of this campaign. Why is this so important to me that I would get up here and talk about it? A very good example was just a few minutes ago. A member of the congregation came up to me and said, "Oh, is my badge on straight?" I said, "Yes," and I fixed it. And he said, "It's so nice to have a friend in this church, in this congregation." From the time that Len and I came here looking for a congregation that shared our ideas and our ideals, we were greeted with open arms. And it has come to be like family. We have made wonderful friendships here. Everyone has been supportive in joys and sorrows and activities, everything. We could not have asked for more, and we want so much for this congregation to survive and thrive. And thrive is the term that I really feel is so important. We give so much to each other, and we give so much to the outside community that I just want to see it continue as it has. And I thank you all for all you've given, all you will give, and all you have given to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sue. And just so you know, there was a poster out there in the narthex, and there's a QR code. I just put my camera, and I'm the least tech-savvy person in the world, and I did it, and I was able to put my pledge in this morning. So thank you, Sue. If you have a stone with you this morning, I invite you to hold that stone in your hand close to your hearts. During the musical meditation, come forward to place your stone in the bowls with the others in this extended, beloved community. Allow your stone to symbolize your intentions, reflections, prayers, joys, sorrows, or milestones in your life. You may also use the chat box to write any joy or sorrow virtually. I will place the first stone to represent all the people who are being affected by the pen of our president. To all of you, I see you, I honor you, and I love you.
I would like to place final stones for our democracy. May it always be strong. May it always rebound from those who wish to undermine it. And for all the things that remain in our hearts, unheard, unsaid, sometimes unformed, even to ourselves yet, place one more stone.
The world is indeed full of peril, and there are many dark places. But still there is much that is fair, and though all the lambs love is mingled with grief, it grows perhaps the fairer. These words are by J.R.R. Tolkien in the first book of his trilogy entitled The Fellowship of the Ring. There are times in life when things are uncertain, instilling in us a sense of peril, reflecting both the fragility and the shadows that accompany existence. Danger, conflict, and uncertainty shape the human journey, weaving a tapestry within which despair and hope are constant threads. J.R.R. Tolkien captures this duality with profound wisdom, acknowledging the coexistence of sorrow and the enduring possibility of renewal. Despair often rises when adversity feels insurmountable. It whispers of futility, urging surrender in the face of overwhelming odds. In Tolkien's world, as in our own, despair tempts us to abandon the fight, to see gloom as all-encompassing. Yet it is precisely in those moments when hope finds its voice. Hope, though fragile, burns with quiet tenacity. It does not deny the existence of hardship or the weight of despair, but it offers a vision beyond them. It reminds us that light persists even when unseen. For every shadow, there is a flicker of courage, a spark of resilience, and the promise of a brighter dawn. The balance of despair and hope defines the human condition. It is through navigating life's trials that we learn to cherish hope, not as a guarantee, but as a gift that transforms struggles into meaningful and endurance into triumph. I invite you to take a moment to sit with these feelings. Close your eyes if you wish. Relax your body. Breathe in and breathe out. And as you do so, look inward to discover what flicker of light inside you inspires feelings of hope, even in these uncertain times. And when you feel ready, come back into your body. Feel your weight in the seat in which you're occupying. Breathe in and out again, and to become fully present in this time and place.
Thank you, Lesley. I know that right now there are a great number of people here who are highly disturbed by the political situation. Most of you are, I'm sure. The actions that are being taken, the ways in which our democracy is threatened. And those are good things to be concerned about. In our demands to preserve our democracy, we must remember that great changes in history took much time and much work. The women's suffrage movement began in 1848 in Seneca Falls, New York, at the first Women's Rights Convention. It took a battle with women incarcerated and beaten for marching for their rights that went until August 26, 1920, when the 19th Amendment was ratified, allowing women the full voting rights. In 1863, President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. The 14th Amendment requiring equal protection under the law, then the 15th Amendment banning racial discrimination in voting were ratified, and yet Jim Crow laws were passed in many states in defiance of those. It wasn't until 1964 that the Civil Rights Act declaring racial discrimination to be illegal was actually passed. At least 80 years for women to gain the vote, and over a century for civil rights to be the law. Things well worth fighting for, and it took time. None of those things happened without a great deal of pushback from those who were in power. The power base will always fight to maintain that power, which is why we're always feeling like we go through cycles of moving forward and then being pushed back. Any changes will require a great deal of fighting from those who wish to see change. Hyperinflation had hit Germany in 1921, and it only took until 1923 for the far-right Nazi Party to gain strength. In 1931, unemployment rates had soared, and in 1932, the Nazi Party became the largest party in Germany. There were still people who resisted and acted out against the Nazi regime. Non-compliance, such as skipping work or not following the rules, protests and open demonstrations, rescuing people who were being persecuted, like hiding the Jews. Even armed resistance and sabotage were used. Now, what I take from this is that in times of perceived inflation and unemployment rates soaring, people will move to the far right. And we are seeing that across Europe, the world, as well as the US. Often we see a resurgence of fascism, but even during those times, there will be people who feel that they must protect those who are being marginalized and persecuted. The reason I am bringing up these things from history is for us to attempt to understand what just happened. Why so many people felt the need to support someone that we feel is inappropriate for office. When we are suddenly faced with all branches of government in control of those who are leaning towards the far-right ideologies and fascism, I want us to understand that creating great dramatic change doesn't happen overnight. I want us to understand that there are reasons why people made the choices they made. Some people that I believe may be truly good people in their hearts felt that there were points that the Democrats were supporting that went against their values. They saw propaganda, and they felt that that was enough reason to support someone who seemingly agreed with their own values. I want us to see those people who made those choices as fellow human beings. I want us to see those people, and I want us to approach all of our fellow human beings with the same love at the center of our UU values. I know that this may be a huge ask, the concept that at this moment is beyond imagining. I believe that as Unitarian Universalists, we are called to our living faith and to live our faith. There's a reason I love our flower that shows in simple, easy to communicate bullet points what our shared values are. Interdependence. That we honor the fact that we are part of an interdependent web of all existence. We are all connected. Equity. Every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. Pluralism. That we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. Transformation. We adapt to the changing world and seek to change our world. Generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope, and we give of ourselves generously to help others. And justice. We work toward creating a diverse, cultural, beloved community where all can feel welcome and thrive. Now take all those values and examine those who believe differently through the lens of our values and principles. Go back within yourself and examine those others with love at the center of those values. Even though we sometimes have differences of core values, of opinion that will create what is the better world for all of us, even though there are those who believe that some of us don't belong within the walls of what is perceived of this great country, even though we don't understand the ideals and perspectives of those people, it is or should be part of our faith to include them as well. In order to include them, we need to find ways in which to embrace, or at least be tolerant of them, with love at the center. While we may feel that we are fighting for justice, we need to remember that we cannot allow ourselves to become just like them. We need to remember that anger and violence have no place, that hatred of the enemy is not really who we are. I'm not saying that it's easy to simply embrace and love someone and suddenly the world looks better in their eyes. Treating people with love and compassion doesn't always work to change their perspectives or ideas. But the only way that we can hold on to who we are is to remember that love is at the center of our beliefs, our principles, our values, of our faith. It kind of clicked for me watching the movie Inside Out with my grandprincesses. All of those feelings, even the ones that seemed negative, are necessary and important to creating a whole, well-rounded being. That it's only through accepting all of them, all of those parts, and embracing them that we create the life we want. And from the perspective of that movie, all of those are brought together through joy. If we move through all of the ups and downs with joy and love, we can become. Fascism sneaks in. It comes in through the tiny cracks that we don't realize are there, influencing and undermining until it is too late. Now, there are so many quotes from Martin Luther King Jr. that suit this situation. He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetrate it. He who accepts evil without protesting against it is cooperating with it. Or, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. And most definitely, the time is always right to do what is right. So there are many ways that we can fight fascism. One way is to speak out, to not let others get away with saying something bigoted in your presence. We have to remember that our being uncomfortable about it isn't condemnation. Being silent is not condemnation, nor is walking away. Those things are equivalent to complacency and complicity. I like one meme that I saw that said, not to be quiet or subtle, but to use the phrase, that sounds like some weird Nazi stuff. But regardless of how you handle it, we must also remember that, as Dr. King also said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So in keeping with love at the center, you could also say something like that and then turn around and say, but I can't imagine that you are that kind of person. You must be better than a Nazi. We could approach it with compassion, expressing the desire to see the best in them, to see their better selves. And sometimes they rise to that. There are many organizations that are constantly having petition drives to contact our legislature, to fight injustices. I get dozens of emails a day with petitions, and that is one way that we can assist in the fight to preserve our democracy. There are often marches or events that put the issues at the front that you might be able to join in. Another way we can fight is where we put our money. Sometimes capitalism can have effect for the positive. Boycott companies that stripped their DEI programs under the new regime. Amazon, Meta, McDonald's, Walmart, Target, and Ford. Even better, we can support companies who expressed their continued commitment to their DEI programs. Costco, Apple, Pinterest, Microsoft, Elf Beauty, Cisco, and surprisingly, financial giants JP Morgan Chase, and Goldman Sachs. Our money can have power. I believe that when situations like this new government arise, when we are not able to feel that we are affecting enough change, when we feel frustrated and concerned and want to fight, sometimes we need to start by looking closer to home. We open our community to do all that we can to protect those who are in danger, to offer sacred space to those who need comfort, to speak out about injustices that cause harm. We can find support for ourselves within our network of the UUA and sibling congregations across the country. While we seek to find ways to preserve democracy, we also have to remember that part of social justice is to support those who are being marginalized, who are being persecuted. One of the ways that UUCFM can do that is by supporting our wonderful community sharing partners. I'm reminded of a meme that came across my feed where a professor invited a Buddhist monk to speak to his class. The monk got up in front of the class, and at the blackboard, he wrote, "Everyone wants to save the world, but no one wants to help mom with the dishes." And it's true, really. Very few of us get the opportunity to do great things like running into a burning building to save someone. But we have other opportunities to affect our world. The smile that you smile at the person at the grocery store, that may bring a smile to their own face that they carry forward throughout their day and even bring home to their families. Treating the cashier and the bagger with respect and gratitude makes them feel human and important. Helping mom with the dishes allows mom to do things like her own self-care. And we all know the adage, happy mom, happy family. We are able to help support organizations that support those people who need help the most. It may seem like little in the battle to preserve democracy, but we aren't about to get out there and take up arms against our government. But what we can do is quiet resistance with love at the center, by supporting those who are being persecuted. And that is resistance. Refusing to stay silent and speaking out, sometimes by simply signing multiple petitions or donating to whatever causes those petitions are supporting, and supporting our community sharing partners who are supporting others in need. All of those are ways in which we can help to preserve our democracy, to preserve the country that we believe is great. We have an amazing social justice committee who has worked hard who is working hard towards creating a newsletter focused on social justice happenings in ways that you can get involved locally. We are finding new ways that we can be more effective, reach more people in these changing times. That committee has done great research in creating recommendations for our community sharing partner program going forward. Join the Social Justice Committee. Take part in helping to find ways in which you can become active. And never forget to keep love at the center. There is certainly a lot of work ahead of us over the next 4 years. We will need to fight to create what we believe is right. But we also need to be the refuge, the sanctuary for those people who need a place to go, to feel welcomed. And we need to be the ones to reach out with an olive branch in love. Regardless of where they come from or what they believe, and yes, regardless of who they voted for, Keep in mind that an olive branch is a request for peace, to find common ground, to have compassion for one another. It is not the acceptance of harming others. Moving forward, we can have hope. Hope for our fellow persons. Hope for our democracy. Hope for our future. I love this quote by a mindfulness coach. Hope is not blind optimism, but a grounded belief in our ability to persevere. By focusing on what we can control and reframing challenges as opportunities, we cultivate both resilience and clarity. So when you wonder how we can have hope through all of this insanity, remember it's not simply being optimistic for the future, but it is helping us to focus on what we can change and how we can affect changes throughout the ripples of our own good deeds. I felt that I wanted to address this to all of you, as I'll be taking the role of president of this congregation in the spring. And I know that it will be the beginning of our fight, that we will have much work to do in the next year and the years to come. And I wanted you all to know that I will be at the center of that for all of you. I will be here for all of you. I will be holding sacred space for all of you. And I will be doing the same for all of them. I will be fighting to keep our shared principles and values, and most importantly to me, to keep them with love at the center of all of this. You are powerful. You are cared for. You are loved. And you are loved. I hope, amen, and blessed be. Please join us in our hymn 1017, We Are Building a New Way. It's in the teal books. Thank you.
Agitando los iPhones.
Our every need.
It's so good to see you this morning and to see some folks who are visiting who I haven't seen for a while. It's wonderful to see you. And this morning I wanted to just chat with you a little bit about the offering. It's something that we do every day, of course, that we meet here. And we are building a new way every day that we come here. We're trying to build ourselves, we're trying to build our community. And we've often been asked, at least as I've led some of the services here, to use our UU principles to shine our light, or our beacon, if you will, on the issues within our broader society. And I think we have historically, our UUs have taken that stance and really tried to help our society become more attuned to the kinds of values that we espouse. But we also don't always see things as they are, right? We don't, and they don't. And so one of the things that we need to do is take a look at who we are, because we don't see things as they are, we see things as we are. And so one of the things that Mary Studer and I are going to be offering beginning next Sunday at 9:15 in classroom 3, similar to what we used to do with the Humanist Forum. We are going to have a conversation, and it's going to focus on spiritual issues, spirituality, but values, and the kinds of things that we look and see who we are and how we are going to be in our community. And I want to just say thank you very much for all of the things in the service that have come so far. But I'm reminded that there is a poem that Drew Dellinger wrote some time ago, and it's called Hieroglyphic Stairway. And I want to read just a portion of it, because it deals with who we are and what we're being called to do. It's 3:23 in the morning, and I'm awake because my great-great-grandchildren won't let me sleep. My great-great-grandchildren ask me in dreams, what did you do while the planet was plundered? What did you do when the earth was unraveling? Surely you did something when the seasons started failing. As the mammals, reptiles, birds were all dying. Did you fill the streets with protest when democracy was being stolen? What did you do once you knew? And I'm hoping that the discussions that Mary and I will be able to have with you will help us determine what the new story for UUCFM will be, as we talked about 3 weeks ago. That we don't live in the world, we live in the stories we tell ourselves about the world. So we want to look at the world that we live in. Now, we also, in the offering, honor the community service organizations that we sponsor and help. And of course, February, our community sharing partner is Reset. And I'm very happy to be able to talk to you about Reset. As you may know, Reset has changed its acronym, and as human beings, our great work in the 21st century and our prime interbeing responsibility is to be, R-E-S-E-T, restoring Earth as our sacred ecological trust. And Reset is the lead organization within the new Southwest Florida Eco Alliance that is focusing on the sacred relationship between humans and the rest of creation. And we're very happy to be doing that. And I think we're making a real impact. And I'm also pleased, just to give you a quick announcement, that on the March 15th, Reset will be offering an Earth Listening Circle here on campus, and we'll tell you more about that, but I just wanted to let you know that. Now, for this morning's offering, all undesignated funds will be shared with Reset, as is our tradition, and you can designate your fund if you wish to UUCFM or split between Reset and UUCFM. And if you are visiting and have a connection card, please put it in the bag as it is passed for the offering this morning. And our morning offering will be gratefully received and gratefully shared as appropriate. May our offering now be received. Thank you.
Encourage my soul, and let us journey on. Though the night is dark, and I am far from home, thanks be to the Spirit, the morning light appears. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. Hallelujah. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. Hallelujah. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. Hallelujah. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. Hallelujah.
And let us repeat the honoring of our funding as should appear on the screen.
By the work of our hands, love is made real. May we be grateful for
we extinguish this flame, but not the truth of love, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I have a closing that is something I found on YouTube from the UU Church of Springfield, Missouri. It's not a responsive, it's an echo. So I'm going to say some words and I'm going to ask you to repeat them. But let's start by holding our hands close to our hearts and taking a deep breath in and out. And another deep breath in and out. May I feel peace.
May I feel peace.
May I feel love.
May I feel love.
May I be happy.
May I be happy.
And now, follow my hand movements. We're going to share that with each other. May you feel peace.
May you feel peace.
May you feel loved.
May you feel love.
May you be happy.
May you be happy.
This next one might need a little bit of room because we're going to share it with the world. May we feel peace.
May we feel peace.
May we feel loved.
May we feel loved.
May we be happy.
May we be happy.
Blessed be.
Thank you for attending our service today. Please join us for coffee and conversation in Hobart Hall after the service, and there will be an informal opportunity for our Zoom folks to chat after the service. The Freedom to Read Library is always available every Sunday after the service. There are books about all kinds of people and those who identify in many different ways, people who are currently being targeted. There are purple t-shirts that we are selling in the Narthex. When we are walking or rolling for our social justice events, people will know we are there. We also have a box to donate canned goods or dry foods for the food pantry. If you didn't remember this week, the box is always available after our services. While it can be a challenging time for all of us, there are actions we can take. And Andrea said, we are called to our living faith and to live our faith. One way we can live our faith is to improve our environment. As the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, the time is always right to do what is right. There is nothing better we can do for our environment than to tend to the earth. On Saturday, February 8th, we will be celebrating the life of Judy Burgett and her incredible service to this congregation. Judy expressed the wish that instead of a memorial service, we do something. Respecting her wish, we will be working on our grounds on the morning of February 8th. The Scouts will join us, having said that they would be honored to participate. There is always much to do. We can weed the raised garden beds, plant seeds of butterfly-friendly plants, and pull out the Brazilian peppers. Together, we can make our grounds more beautiful while honoring the memory of a cherished friend. So bring some gardening gloves with you and join us next Saturday. Go in peace.